Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Calf Kick Sports. It's your host, Jermaine Event. We're here with Lewis out here in Scotland. We are here to preview UFC 313, headlined by ALEX PEREIRA versus Magomed Ankalaev. The ducking is finally over, Lewis. What do you think about this fight?
It's a long time coming anyway. I think it's time for Poatan to answer all the questions. Obviously, like they've said for that, it's ducking him this, he's ducking him that. And it is probably the biggest stylistic nightmare for him in the division. But that being said, if he does this, if he pulls this off against Ankalaev, then nobody can say anything then, because that's a hard one for him, especially. But going into it, to be honest, I actually think I can see Ankalaev trying to prove a wee point because he obviously likes his stand-up, and I can see him trying to go on his stand-up there with him, but I'm not sure if there's anyone possibly that can actually even stand with Pereira, but I've got a feeling he's going to try, and I think that's what might cause him some issues.
I think he's definitely going to try. I'm a fan of Ankalaev, and I was watching his fight with Rakic like a few hours ago. What stood out to me is that with every Ankalaev fight, I'm always thinking like, oh, he's going to go in and dominate with his wrestling. He never does.
Never.
He never goes in and grapples. So what makes me think this is going to be any different? He's going to strike with Alex. Yeah. All right. That's what's going to happen. That's what he does. In the last fight with Rakic, PC was like, I don't think he can grapple for 5 rounds. I don't think he has that in him. He does not have that in him. I think he's going to stand. Rakic was touching him up early on in that fight. And Rakic's corner told Rakic that he was winning the fight going into the third and he needed to just be safe. So who knows if he knew he was losing that fight, like what could have happened? But I think if he fights the way he normally fights and he doesn't use the wrestling that he can use, he's going to get knocked out.
I think he needs to instantly set the pace instantly with the wrestling. Because if he comes out and even tries to play with the kickboxing or whatever, even just to get his feelers out there for the first minute or two, all it takes is 1 second for Pereira. And if he hits once, it doesn't matter how many times you think he can get back up, but if he hits him, he's going to sleep. Whereas I think a lot of people are completely expecting Ankalaev to come out double leg, take him down, but I genuinely just don't think Ankalaev will go for a takedown until he feels a bit of adversity, until he maybe gets hit a couple of times. Or I was actually watching the Blachowicz fight back with Ankalaev, and he was really hurting the legs. The leg kicks were absolutely destroying him. And you know that Alex Pereira, when it comes to the leg kicks, there's no many people that does it better and smoother and slicker with him. So that means I think if Alex can get the leg kicks done early, if he does want to shoot, and it's going to be hard to push off the legs if he can sort of get that done early. I think we're going to have a rough idea within the first 3-4 minutes of the fight, or going into the second round, how the rest of the fight will go.
Yeah, I think it's going to definitely be decided early on, first few minutes. We're going to see, even in the Rakic fight, the leg kick was a problem early on for Ankalaev. He just doesn't check them well.
No.
But the problem I see most with Ankalaev is that his striking is decent. He has decent striking. The problem is that ALEX PEREIRA is on another level. These guys can't stand with him. He has decent striking, but it's just not going to be good enough on the night.
They all make that mistake, though. They all just because that's the way they're built, and they want to prove to everybody and prove to himself even that I can stand with him for a bit. And then even if they plan on maybe going for a takedown later in the fight, but they want to get a feel. But by that point, it's too late. As soon as he lands, that's it. It takes a couple shots, and there's nobody got to take that pillar. But don't get me wrong, Ankalaev has got pretty, as you say, good stand-up in that. But nobody is on Pereira's level when it comes to straight kickboxing in the UFC, pretty much. Maybe you could say Adesanya, but you see how that one went as well, with the two of them back and forth. Obviously, Pereira better done more than what Izzy did, but still, obviously, it's different style of fight. The way Ankalaev fights as well is more springing in and out. I think he needs to even just give him the fear of the takedown early, just to have it on his mind. But we might end up seeing Ankalaev come out early, be smart, take him down, and then just could submit him or get him to pound the early doors. But I just don't see it happening. I think I think he's got to stand with him.
The opportunities are there. If he
Mhm.
wants to take them, he can take this man down.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no way Alex is going to stop the Dagestani wrestling,
Yeah.
but he won't do it.
Yeah. I
He
don't.
simply won't.
They all make the same mistake, though. I don't know why. Even if if you're a striker and you've done MMA for all your life, pretty much, and you're coming up against Pereira, even if you're comfortable and you're naturally a striker, you're still most likely to spend more time grappling than what he has, and you should really be able to. Even like Yuri and other guys that's fought him, just I don't understand. I think the best thing you can do if you're fighting Pereira, go for a takedown early as possible. Even if it doesn't work, and if it doesn't, you're not able to control him. You're giving him that thought in his head, so he's got to be a bit more. He's not got to want to throw a certain way, and he'll want to be a bit more protective with his strikes.
He should fight like Marab, just constant, just shooting. Just he's under attack, just trying to take him down over and over again. And even if he's defended, just he can't get his striking going. Just keep shooting. But he won't. He won't.
I don't think he will. I think it's got to be a kickboxing match for as long as it lasts, and I think Pereira's got to KO him, to be honest.
I think by the second round knockout for Pereira.
Yeah, second. Yeah. I agree, probably, actually. Second round sounds like end of the first round or start of the second. I can see Pereira getting the knockout then. And Pereira, when it comes to leg kicks, he's better than pretty much anyone. It's just so sneaky. I think that will be, I think you're right, the first couple of minutes, Pereira has got to be spamming the leg kicks constantly. And then that way, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the way he managed to finish him. Do you know that? Like, if he was constantly hurting him, and then he can go upstairs with a few combos, and because he's got to cover him off his base a bit. But I think the leg kicks will be the factor that will probably get Pereira the win.
I agree. Ladies and gents, we have an update, breaking news. Dan Hooker hurts his hand in a sparring session, breaks his knuckle, has to pull out of the fight with Justin Gaethje at UFC 313. And now we get a replacement stepping in after 18 months layoff. Rafael Fiziev is coming in to fight Justin Gaethje in a rematch. 5 rounds. What do you think about it, Lewis?
First of all, I must admit, I'm absolutely gutted that we didn't get the Gaethje and Hooker fight. I thought that could have been unbelievable, similar to the Poirier fights with both of them. But at the end of the day, I was there when Fiziev fought Gaethje in London last time, and that fight was absolute violence from start to finish. So it's a good replacement. It's a long layoff for Fiziev, but at the end of the day, Gaethje after his last fight and then Fiziev after his last fight, it's an interesting one. I don't think we're going to see any takedowns. I think it's just going to stand and bang similar.
Gaethje did get a takedown on Fiziev in the first fight,
and the last part of the fight, he just went, the crowd went absolutely wild for it. Like it was actually louder than what it would have been, I think, if he knocked him down. He even mentioned that in his post-fight after. He was like, "I got my takedown, so you cannot shut up." I think it's got to take off where the last fight happened. Got to be similar, but Fiziev in the first fight, it was sort of faster than Gaethje for the first half of the fight, and then Gaethje just does what Gaethje does, takes over. But still, close fight, a really close fight.
I think it could be a lot different. So, like, yeah, in the first fight, I think that I gave the first round to Fiziev, second round to Gaethje, and then the start of the third round, I felt like Fiziev was going strong, and then he just gassed. Like, he hit a wall. Gaethje just started to put it on him. All right. And I felt like it was anybody's fight until like the last 2 minutes of that round. Fiziev is coming off a knee injury. It was like a non-contact injury, right? Like he threw a kick and then his other knee went out on him.
Yeah.
And he hasn't fought in a year and a half when he steps in to fight Justin Gaethje. I don't know if his mobility is going to be the same, if he's going to be as fast. He hasn't been in a fight. His conditioning might not be there. I think this is going to be a bad fight for Fiziev to step in on 11 days. Gaethje's got a full camp, ready for 5 rounds. I don't think Fiziev is going to be up for this challenge, like coming off the couch.
The thing is as well, I've seen Fiziev saying that he's been trying to get fight after fight after fight. And remember, Dana sort of shot him down. Was it Dana? I think it was Dana shot him down. I says, nah. like we've been trying to get him fights or whatever's happened there. I mean, it is quite a short notice fight, and when you've not been able to train as good as you would like to after the injury and that, and then he's come back, a first fight back after an injury like that, and you've got to have Justin absolute swinging at his legs with the leg kicks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be in the back of his mind, like after getting hurt, and then you've got someone like Justin Gaethje, who there's not many people that've got better leg kicks than Gaethje. He can do it for right inside the pocket. He'll throw the big winging leg kicks.
He was using them early on in the fight, and then he went away from it for some reason.
Yeah, I'd say Fiziev is a more sort of polished kickboxer or whatever on the feet, but Gaethje's just got that grit, and he's just sort of he'll keep going, and he just wears on people. And I think mentally he wears on them as well when he's still coming forward. And I do think Gaethje doesn't get enough credit for how technical he actually is, because he does, in amongst it, he'll throw something crazy, and then it is no sort of as technical, but in amongst all that, he will throw something really cool and technical, but then he'll just start swinging and banging. I can't see the fight being different to the last. The only thing I can see is Gaethje being a bit more one-sided and putting on the pressure earlier, and maybe Fiziev gassing quicker, because as you say, it's not fought that long, and it's a short notice fight, and I think Gaethje's got to be able to prove a point as well after his last fight. Don't think it's got to be a good fight for Fiziev.
I don't think it's gonna be a good fight. His game, he likes to throw that front teep. He likes to throw those front body kicks, a lot of kicks. So is he gonna trust that knee? What's gonna happen once Gaethje hits that leg 2 or 3 times? And when I watched the first fight again, he didn't really check those kicks too well. He didn't even attempt to check those kicks. So I don't think this is gonna be too good for Fiziev in this one. It's a bad fight. Maybe he needs the paycheck. He was trying to claim nobody wanted to fight him, but Dana shut that down. Yeah, I think this is just a bad fight for him to go back to. It leaves an excuse like, oh, I came back after this long out, didn't have a full camp. So, like, it's not, this loss isn't that bad. But to me, it's a bad fight. Bad situation, bad fight. Final picks, definitely I'm rolling with Gaethje to win this fight, maybe by a finish. I would imagine either he's going to chop down that leg or knock him out flat from just accumulation of damage. I think Gaethje gets the stoppage.
100% agree. I think later rounds, maybe later to the second or third round, maybe Gaethje will just eventually wear on him. And I can see him just, as you say, maybe not like a flash KO. I don't think it'll be like that. I think it'll be more, as you say, like I'm starting to put on him and put on him, and then that KO, and he just bundles down. Stoppage. I don't think it'll go the distance, so I think Gaethje will get the finish this time.
Yep, I agree. All right, so third fight we're going to talk about here, we have King Green. Officially on Tapology is King Green versus Mauricio Ruffy out of the Fighting Nerds. What do you have in this one? 11-1 Mauricio Ruffy.
The thing is, right, I think Ruffy is obviously, he's on a tear, and especially that gym, they seem to be just going through everyone, and his fighting style, and I remember Joe Rogan kept going on about in his last fight, I think it was, or maybe his previous fight before, his style, he's got the hands down sort of like with McGregor, and it's like similar, it's different, but he's got the similarities, and some of his strikes, his lands and that are unbelievable, and I think he's got a lot of opportunities going forward, and this is where you'll find out how good he is, put it that way, because Bobby, or King Green, should I say, no way to offend him. People, if you fight Bobby Green or King Green, whatever you want to call him, King Green, you fight him and you get past him, you know you're for real. Like, obviously, he's got quite a few losses on his record, but he's fought absolutely everybody, and he's been around forever as well. That's what I genuinely think he might actually get the victory here. And just second or third round, maybe by decision, but getting I think he'll lose the first round. I think it's almost certain he'll lose the first round. But I think King Green, second round, start pouring it on a bit more. And then the third round, I think he'll run away with it a bit. I would not be surprised if he's KO'd round one, because he's got the power, he's got the style and stuff. But Bobby Green, people struggle to hit him. He's just got that shoulder roll. It seems to work for him. Obviously, he's been around the block that many times. He's fought every style of fighter.
I like Green in this one. I'm kind of favoring Green. I think with Ruffy, in his last fight, he started to get tired in the third
that's what I
round.
was thinking as well.
You know what I'm saying? And if you're doing that against a veteran like Bobby, he's gonna piece you up in the third round. It's not you're not gonna get away from that. I don't think he's gonna be able to land on Bobby so cleanly with his head movement, his defense, that shoulder roll, as you mentioned. I believe Green is just gonna win by decision in this one. I think he's gonna lose the first round, but then after that, the counters are gonna be there. He's gonna have the timing down, and he's just gonna be that much better than Ruffy. Ruffy's good, but I think this is just too much for him right now.
It's not really fought anyone like Bobby Green before. Bobby's fought every style, and he's just got that many fights on his record. And there's a lot of fights in his first round, as you say. Bobby does sort of maybe sometimes lose, but he just got that veteran in him. He just pulls it on a bit at his time, and he knows when to go and how much to put in his volume just over. I think that bang on. First round, he's got to lose. And then the second and third, I would say definitely by decision. He might get a refinish in the third round. I wouldn't be too surprised. But I think it's probably a safe bet to go with Bobby Green decision.
Yeah, that's what I'm rolling with. Bobby Green by decision. TKO is definitely on the table.
Yeah.
Bobby Green, 38 years old coming into this fight. 10 years older than Ruffy.
He feels older than that just because he's been about it for long. He's been about it forever, and he's just like... I actually thought he was older than that. I thought he was maybe 40, but...
40-year-olds are doing pretty good these days.
Exactly. I think the thing is, I can see him still going strong in a couple of years' time, still fighting, because he's fighting the best in the world most of the time, and that's purely because he's beating the people that are maybe low ranked. So that he's never just like, and there's very rarely in his fights then he's just got no chance. It doesn't happen very often. Obviously, with the Paddy lost the last fight. I still can't believe he went for a takedown.
Blake, you're a veteran and you go for a takedown. Like, what are we doing?
Paddy looked like a bloody middleweight out there compared to him, though. I think that was surprising him, and his striking by Paddy, I think, has surprised him about it. Which it blows my mind how he thought that was a good idea. Mm-hmm. I thought the same fight what he would do, like with Paddy. I thought he would go with that as well. Like if Paddy would go for the takedown, he wouldn't get it. Sometimes the fighters surprise you, and a lot of the time they just want to prove a point. And I think that Green maybe thought, I'll take him down, show him a boot, but but as you say, I think Bobby Green will take this fight and then get him back on a winning ways. But I think Ruffy will be back. I don't get me wrong, I think he will be back, but I just think this one's too much for him too soon.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit too much for him. But he's good. You know, I like that gym, except for like Bruna Brazil. She can't seem to get it done.
No.
Shout out to Bruna Brazil, though. But I like that gym a lot.
They seem to be pouring out talent after talent. In the last couple of years, they're all sort of on the rise. But as you say, I think this one is probably going to take an L.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So there we got for UFC 313. ALEX Pereira versus Ankalaev. We're both going with ALEX Pereira in the main event, correct?
Yeah.
And then we have Bobby King Green versus Mauricio Ruffy. And we are both rolling with Bobby King Green to get it done via decision or late TKO. I'm down with that. Do you got anything else you're excited for on this card you want to shout out?
We were talking about earlier the Curtis Blades fight, but your man making his debut. But it was just, we were saying that like it's a bit of a random one having against Curtis Blades on your debut, especially when they tried to make the fight previously, and then it obviously falls out, and then they try to remake it for your debut. So they obviously think something of him. But Curtis Blades against anybody's a hard night, especially on your debut under the bright lights and on a pay-per-view as well.
Rizvan Kuniev. Mm-hmm. He's coming from the PFL, Eagle FC.
Yeah.
He had a no contest versus Kenan Ferreira guy that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never, I must admit, I've not seen anything of him. It's surprised me when they rebooked him with Curtis, so they obviously think something of him.
He originally beated Ferreira, and then he tested positive for steroids.
Oh God!
So it's a no contest.
You know, that's maybe what it is. Maybe he's coming in now. He's got to be jacked up. USADA's gone. Dana's like, cut his blades.
Yeah, bring him in. So that's what happened. I mean, he's good enough to be PFL champion.
No, that's true, right?
All right, so yeah, nothing else that I really feel like stands out too much for me other than maybe Jalen Turner, Ignacio Bahamondes. That should be a banger in itself. 2 lightweight fights on the main, or 3 lightweight fights on the main card. That's pretty exciting. Well, all right, thank you, ladies and gents. Thank you guys for being with us here at Calf Kick Sports. We will see you again soon. As once again, I'm Jermaine. This is your boy Lewis. We will see you guys next time. Peace.
Take care.